Murder in Islam is a very serious offense that not only affects the person that was murdered and those family members of the person that was murdered, but it also affects everyone that is connected or affiliated or associated with that individual in one way or another. When they killed Malcolm, they killed all of us. They killed Malcolm, they killed all of us. They killed an entire nation of people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this in the Quran explicitly, because disregard for one life is disregard for all life. If you would have the gall to pull a trigger and murder somebody and take them off of this earth, you don't have regard for anybody's life. If you'll take one life, you'll take all lives. It's no distinction. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أن من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا ولقد جاءتهم رسلنا بالبينات ثم إن كثيرا منهم بعد ذلك في الأرض لمسرفون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah number 5, ayah 32. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and because of this, we have decreed upon Bani Israel that anyone who takes a life without due right or because of some facade or some corruption in the earth, then it is as if he has taken all lives. فَكَأَنَّمَا قَتَلَ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. It's as if he has killed all of mankind. Because disregard for one life is disregard for all lives. Fact. Disregard for one life is disregard for all lives. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. And whoever gives life, whoever saves a life or gives a life, then it's as if he has given life to all of mankind. Because to respect and value the life of one person is to respect and value the life of all persons, all individuals, with no exception. So they didn't just kill, the title of the documentary was Who Killed Malcolm X? They didn't kill Malcolm X, they killed all of us. They killed all of us. Look at Betty Shabazz's face the day that he was murdered, and they're shoving microphones in her face, trying to get her to give a statement, to give a comment. This woman is paralyzed. You can see it in her face. Paralyzed. Because of what she knew. She's sitting there like this. They're shoving microphones in her face, and she just a silence, a dead silence. The insensitivity, because all they're concerned with is, a story. Obviously, they didn't give a damn about Malcolm. They cleaned up the ballroom and had a party at the ballroom 7 o'clock that night. The podium that he was shot at, the podium where he was standing on, where he was shot, it was bullet holes in the podium, which could have been used as evidence in court, was downstairs buried under some stuff in the basement. They didn't give a damn about Malcolm's death. They wanted him dead. They wanted him dead. They didn't give a damn about his death. They cleaned up the ballroom that afternoon, right after that, after the police left. They cleaned up the ballroom and they had a party. They had a dance 7 o'clock that night, later on that night. They didn't care. This is an injustice that was done to an individual. And here we are, decades later, trying to bring some type of justice, man. SubhanAllah. Trying to bring this man, some type of justice, so that before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I can say that although that happened long before me, I did my part with respect to the Muslim community to make sure that, as Abdurrahman mentioned in the documentary, that what is all of this for? Historical facts. Let's get the facts straight so we can rest in peace, so we can stop living with the lie. Historical facts. That's all this is about. Someone can say, well, what is all of this for? Right? Historical facts. So when history is told, there's no discrepancies. When history is told, there are no discrepancies. There was an incident that was mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari. I want to show you how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with murder and how he dealt with injustice as it relates to murder. I want to show you what our religion says, what Islam says, and how Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a true prophet, how he dealt with the injustice of a murder. In Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as it was mentioned on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Khalid ibn Walid and a group from amongst the Muslims to Bani Jathima, فَدَعَاهُمْ إِلَى الْإِسْلَامِ, to call them to Islam. فَلَمْ يُحْسِنْ أَنْ يَقُولُوا أَسْلَمْنَا. They didn't know how to say aslamna, we submit, in those particular words. So they were saying sabatna, which in their language, in their dialect of Arabic, it meant the same thing, meaning we submit, we're Muslims. But they weren't saying it the way Khalid wanted them to say it. And the word sabatna was a word that Quraysh used to use to define Muslims, basically saying that they apostated from the traditional idolatry of their forefathers. So they would say they are, sabatum, like you've apostated from our religion, meaning you are followers of Muhammad. So when they were using the word sabatna, meaning we've submitted, Khalid thought that they meant that they apostated. And so what did Khalid ibn Walid do? He began killing them. Now Abdullah ibn Umar and many of the Sahaba are there. He's killing some of them and he's taking others captive. They're running, fleeing, running away from Khalid ibn Walid. Khalid kills a few of them and then takes a couple of them captive. And he passes some of them off to Abdullah ibn Umar and others that are with him. The very next day, Khalid called himself, giving them an opportunity to get it right. And then he told Abdullah ibn Umar and others, the captives that you have, kill them. So Abdullah ibn Umar said, Wallahi la aqtul asiri. I'm not going to kill my captive. I'm not doing it. I'm going against you. I'm not going to kill him. That's not what the Prophet ﷺ sent us here to do. I'm not going to kill him. And all of the other Sahaba opposed Khalid ibn Walid until they got back to Medina. When they got back to Medina, they told the Prophet ﷺ what Khalid had did. The Prophet ﷺ paid attention to how he rectified. We're talking about an injustice that was done. An injustice that was done to a group of people where some people were murdered. They were murdered by someone in a delegation that was sent by the Prophet ﷺ. This comes back to him. So if you're saying, oh, the Nation of Islam didn't have anything to do with murdering Malcolm, then where was the rectification? Where was the you let two people, innocent individuals, go to prison? As the guy mentioned, when the affidavit was dropped, there should have been uproar. There was none. There was no uproar. Even, Wali Muslim, when they were interviewing him at King's, and, one of the brothers kind of got a little indignant with him. And he was like, well, didn't people go to jail for that? It's like, yeah, people went to jail for that, but it wasn't the right person. How you going to say, all right, somebody went to jail for it, they locked somebody up for it, so that's it? They locked somebody up for it and that's it? The guy clearly said these two individuals was innocent. They had nothing to do with it. Did the Nation of Islam step forward and say anything? No. Let them guys rot in jail. One of them, alhamdulillah, came home, made it home after 22 years. The other one died in prison. Two innocent individuals that had absolutely nothing to do with nothing. But let me show you what a real leader does when murder, injustice happens. Once they got back to Medina and told the Prophet ﷺ what Khalid did, the Prophet ﷺ gathered a group from the Sahaba, gathered the community together, and he said, Allahumma inni abra'u ilayka bima fa'ala Khalid. He said, oh Allah, in front of you, I am free from what Khalid did. I have nothing to do with that. I did not order Khalid to do that. I am free from his actions. I have nothing to do with that. That's the way you rectify. You clarify. This man is wrong. I have nothing to do with that. Then the Prophet ﷺ went to the tribes of the individuals who were murdered, and he paid the blood money for them. Compensation. As our religion instructs us, you take someone's life, there has to be either a life for a life or there's blood money to be paid, a diya. Compensation for the loss. Not just the loss of the lives, but the family that have to deal with that. The Prophet ﷺ was sensitive enough to know that murder doesn't just affect the person that was slain. The family got to deal with it. The tribe got to deal with it. The community got to deal with it. Here again, وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. For the one who saves a life, the one who is concerned about a life, is as if he's concerned about all life. That's what I'm talking about. That's what a real leader does. He stood in front of the community and said, I have nothing to do with what Khalid did. Meaning, I did not order him to do that. Those were his own actions. And then he went and he paid the blood money to the families of the people that Khalid ibn Walid killed. Not as Amin Nathari mentioned in the documentary, I was kind of appalled. I was a little shocked, to be honest with you. Amin stated that at the end of the video that we can't say who is entitled to Allah's forgiveness or who's not. You know, the guy, Al-Mustafa Shabazz, he made Hajj, and therefore he returns home like the day his mother gave birth to him. This is as it relates to the sins that are between. Let me correct this. Because I was listening to YouTube and I heard this non-Muslim guy, and he criticized Islam and Muslims as a result of that. He said Muslims will sit around and condemn Christians for, turning the other cheek or doing this or doing that. He said, but then Muslims, will know that another Muslim, one of their own, is guilty of a murder, and then you exonerate him because he went and performed Hajj. He went and he performed some acts of worship, and so now he's no longer responsible for spilling somebody's blood. This is a non-Muslim criticizing Islam because of a comment that was made by Amin Nathari that he had no authority to make. So you're going to exonerate this man, and I'm not saying whether he will be forgiven or not. That's not my issue. That's not my argument. My argument is to correct the comment that he made using Hajj as a vindication for the act of murder that this man was guilty of. That doesn't vindicate you. In that case, anybody can go murder anybody and then go make Hajj and say, well, I returned home like the day my mother gave birth. That's with conditions. That's as it relates to the sins that are between you and God. As it relates to the sins between you and another human being, it doesn't work like that. The martyr in Islam, the person who dies on the battlefield, from an Islamic standpoint, he goes straight to paradise. Unless there is a haq, there is a right that he owes to another human being. In that case, he will not go straight to paradise, even if he died on the battlefield and lost his life fighting for Islam. You understand? Because you have a haq, you have a right that belongs to another human being. It doesn't work like that. You don't get vindicated, exonerated because you go and perform Hajj when you have sins that are in the balance between you and another human being. It doesn't work like that. Even with forgiveness, the Prophet ﷺ said that if you wrong a Muslim, anyone who wrongs his brother in Islam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive him until at first he goes and seeks forgiveness from his brother. This is as it relates to forgiveness. Your forgiveness is on hold between you and God until you rectify that situation between you and the individual that you wronged. You can't say a person made Hajj, and so therefore we can't say whether or not. No, we can't say whether or not he'll be forgiven. But we will say is that he will be questioned about that, without a doubt. He took a haq from somebody. He took a right from somebody. And as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَوَّلُ مَا يُقْضَى بَيْنَ النَّاسِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فِي الدِّمَاءِ. The first, pay attention to this hadith, the first people to be judged on the Day of Judgment. أَوَّلُ مَا يُقْضَى بَيْنَ النَّاسِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فِي الدِّمَاءِ. The first thing that will be judged between people, the arbitration will start with blood. The arbitration between contending individuals on the Day of Judgment will start with blood, meaning murder, spilling people's blood, fighting, whatever the case may be. If there was any bloodshed, those will be the first people to be judged. Those will be the first situations to be judged on the Day of Judgment. Fiddima. Blood. And you sit here and say, well, because he made Hajj, nobody can say blah, blah, blah. Man, that's the same stuff we say when we tell the sister, oh, be patient, inshallah. Make dua. These same run-of-the-mill responses that we give to people when we don't really know what the hell we're talking about. It's just appalling, man. And now you've said something that is now public information, and now non-Muslims have the luxury now to criticize Islam for something else due to an inaccurate comment that was made by somebody who had no business even opening their mouths. Are you serious, man? I'm sitting here listening to this, shaking my head like, and no, he didn't just say that. That's like making matters worse. It's like, hey, come on, man. You serious? Even when Usama ibn Zayd, him and his companion, they caught the non-Muslim guy in between the rock. And when Usama lifted his sword up to kill the guy said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And the companion from the Ansar, he said, I just backed off of him. He said, he took his shahada. I'm going to leave it at that. I backed off of him. Usama said, Ta'antuhu birubhi hatta mata. I kept stabbing him with my spear until he died. He said, and when I got back to Medina to tell the Prophet ﷺ what happened, the Prophet said to Usama, أَقَتَلْتُهُ بَعْدَ أَنْ قَالَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Did you kill the man after he said La ilaha illallah? This is the Prophet having a conversation with Usama. And this was his beloved, Hubb Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the most beloved of the youth of the Sahaba to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said to him, أَقَتَلْتُهُ بَعْدَ أَنْ قَالَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Did you kill him, Usama, after he said La ilaha illallah? Usama said, yes. He only said it because he knew I was gonna kill him. And the Prophet asked him, did you open his heart to see whether or not he really believed? This is the kicker. At the end of the hadith is collected in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said, yeah, Usama. As Usama kept saying to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, istaghfirli. O Messenger of Allah, ask Allah for forgiveness for me. Ask Allah for forgiveness for me. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Kayfa tasna bi la ilaha illallah ya Usama yawm al-qiyamah. Idha ja'at yawm al-qiyamah. He said, Usama, what are you going to do about his statement, La ilaha illallah, when it comes on the Day of Judgment? How are you going to answer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala killing a man after he said La ilaha illallah? This is the Prophet scolding one of his companions. He didn't just let that ride. You're my companion. Allah knows what your intention was. So therefore, no harm, no foul. La wallahi. La wallahi. He said, أَقَتَلْتُهُ بَعْدَ أَنْ قَالَ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Did you kill that man after he said La ilaha illallah? Usama said, Istaghfirli, Ya Rasulullah. Usama said, O Messenger of Allah, ask Allah for forgiveness for me. Please, I'm sorry. The Prophet ﷺ said, Mada tasna'u bi la ilaha illallah idha ja'at yawm al-qiyamah. He said, Usama, what are you going to do about his statement, La ilaha illallah, when it comes on the day of judgment? You got to answer to Allah for that, man. This was the Prophet's companion. And you have the audacity to tell me that because a man shot a man in public, in broad daylight, in front of his family, in front of his children, sawed-off shotgun, you blasted this man in front of his family. And then you walk away and you have, as a Muslim, conscious Muslim, have the audacity to say, well, he made Hajj, so I can't really say, and we don't want to be judgmental of people, but man, miss me. We have selective religiosity. Selective religiosity. We're religious with the people we want to be religious with. Because quiet is kept, some I ain't gonna say no names, but some same individuals would never even extend anything like that to me. You talk about me like a dog behind my back. But yet you make 1,000,001 excuses for the people that you want to make excuses for. Selective religiosity. Yeah. And let's call it what it is. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Inna Allah la yaghdab idha mudih al-fasiq. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah gets angry when a fasiq, when a sinful, rebellious individual is praised. This is when speaking truth to power becomes a little difficult. When you can't really say because you're held back by the cultural traditions that, we still living by street rules and street cred and all that other bull crap that we bring with us into the fold of Islam. The niggotry that we bring with us into the fold of Islam. Niggotry. We take it with us everywhere we go. It's our baggage. It's our cultural baggage. We can't leave it in the streets where it is. We got to bring it with us every single place that we go. Selective religiosity. We're religious with the people we want to be religious with, and then, we throw the whole book at, mashallah. We oftentimes say that when we know better, we do better, but we didn't do better when we knew better when it came to Malcolm X. We say when we know better, we do better. We say that all the time. But we didn't do better when we knew better. It was common knowledge to many in the Newark area who killed Malcolm X, even amongst those who eventually converted to the true teachings of Islam. Yet not much was done in terms of bringing closure to this situation, this particular chapter. And here we are today having this discussion about it. It is the responsibility of those who know to know the truth, to establish justice. What else are you doing with the truth? What else are you doing with the truth other than establishing justice? What is the purpose of having truth if you're not going to use it to establish justice and die for it in the process? I mean, that's what people who love truth, we understand that those are the consequences that come along with it.